I'm looking at my dad, lying there in that hospital bed, tubes connecting him to machines that beeped and hummed, keeping him alive. He looked small. Fragile. Not at all like the man who, just months ago, had laughed when my sister mocked my service, or who'd enabled her to steal from me. He was supposed to be the bedrock, the one who always had my back. But he wasn't. Not really. Not for me. And in that sterile, quiet room, a choice crystallized for me. I could keep playing the part they'd written for me, the invisible, useful brother, or I could finally, irrevocably, write my own ending. To understand how I got to that impossible moment, though, you need to know about a dinner party. The one where everything, quite literally, spilled over. It started like so many family dinners, with Chloe, my sister, being, well, Chloe. This was months before Dad's heart attack, but the rot had set in long ago. We were all gathered at this fancy restaurant, the Capitol Grill, celebrating her engagement. She beamed, eyes shining, as she introduced her fiancé, Brandon. He was a ranger, she announced, her voice dripping with pride. A real ranger, she added, throwing a pointed look my way. Unlike you, Alex. My parents, Susan and David, chuckled. It was their usual reaction, a tacit endorsement of Chloe's relentless jabs. And then, she reached across the table, glass in hand, to gesture, and a splash of deep red wine arced through the air. It landed squarely on my dress uniform, staining the crisp fabric, spreading like a wound. Susan and David just laughed harder. But Brandon, Chloe's fiancé, he didn't laugh. His eyes, which had been dismissive before, suddenly narrowed. And when he spotted the challenge coin I always kept in my inner pocket, the one that must have slid partly into view when I flinched, his face went utterly, completely pale. Chloe, stop, he said, his voice quiet but sharp, like a knife. Do you know who he is? And just like that, the engagement was over. Right there. He apologized to me, then turned to Chloe and called it quits. The room went silent. It sounds dramatic, right? Like something out of a movie. But it was just the culmination of 9 years of being the family's invisible man. The useful one when they needed something, the convenient joke when they didn't. For years, I just let it slide. But that night, they crossed a line, and everything, finally, blew up. Let me rewind a little. My name's Alex Foster. I've been in the Army for 9 years, stationed at Fort Liberty, doing signals intelligence inside a SCIF. It's important, often classified work. My parents, Susan and David, never really asked what any of that meant. My sister, Chloe, decided it just meant desk job and turned it into her favorite running joke. Then she started dating Brandon, from the 3rd Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment. Suddenly, my uniform became part of her entertainment. I'd actually been pulled into a joint task force after 7 years, doing some seriously intense work tracking networks in Sudan. My family didn't know any of that. They just knew I worked near Charlotte and couldn't talk about it. And Chloe made sure everyone treated that like a punchline. She started with these little comments at holidays. Alex is too busy filing to help us move, or don't ask Alex about work, he gets weird about it. My parents? Never corrected her. They'd nod sometimes. Laugh. My dad, David, would clap my shoulder and say, somebody's got to push papers, right? I let it slide. Operational security was everything. You don't correct misconceptions, especially when lives are on the line. But Chloe wasn't satisfied with quiet digs. She needed an audience. I should have seen it coming when she started dating Brandon 9 months earlier. He was everything she wanted, visibly military, a combat veteran, the kind of guy who wore his tan beret to civilian events and told deployment stories at parties. She invited me to a party at her place that February. I almost said no. I'd just finished a 48-hour shift tracking a network in Sudan, but she'd asked specifically. Said it would mean a lot. Her apartment was full of Brandon's Ranger buddies, fresh back from rotation, drinking beer, talking loud about firefights and jumps. I showed up in jeans and a gray hoodie, exhausted, running on 3 hours of sleep and too much coffee. "There he is," Chloe announced, her voice too loud. "My big brother, Alex, government employee." One of Brandon's friends, built like a tank, tattooed forearms, grinned at me. "What do you do, man? Intelligence analysis? Like, spy stuff?" Chloe cut in, "More like Excel spreadsheets." Alex stares at computers, files, reports. "Very exciting." The guys laughed. Not mean, just dismissive. Brandon even joined in. "Hey, no shame. We need support staff, right? Somebody's got to process the paperwork." I said quietly, "Somebody's got to process the paperwork, right?" I stayed an hour, ate wings, watched the game. Nobody asked me anything else. Chloe kept the comments coming. "Alex is too tired from typing," or "Don't bore them with work talk." On my way out, Brandon followed me to the door. "Hey man, don't take her jokes personal," he said, like he was doing me a favor. "Sisters, you know. She talks about you all the time." He paused. "Sure. You really do intel work?" "Yeah." "Where at?" "Can't say." He nodded like he understood, but his eyes said he thought I was exaggerating. 3 weeks later, my dad, David, called. His car broke down. Transmission shot. Needed $3,800. I wired it that night. 2 weeks after that, Chloe's Instagram showed her and Brandon at some high-end Atlanta restaurant. Champagne, caviar. Caption, "When your man spoils you, right?" I called my dad. He given Chloe $2,500 of my money. She needed it for Brandon's birthday. I sat in my car at Fort Liberty, phone in hand. My security manager called. Situation developing in East Africa. I was needed in the operations center. I went to work. April brought the engagement announcement. Chloe called at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. I'd just gotten out of the SCIF after a 16-hour shift. Checked my phone in the parking lot, 17 missed calls. All Chloe. I called her back from my car. "You couldn't even answer," she screamed. "I'm engaged, Alex. This is the biggest moment of my life, and you ignored me." "I was working." "You're always working, or you claim you are." Brandon says real military makes time for family. He says if you actually cared, you'd pick up. My jaw tightened. Tell Brandon real ops section. "Oh my God. Stop. You work in an office. Stop pretending you're special forces." I didn't respond. Whatever. Brandon and I are having an engagement party May 20th. You're paying for it. Chloe, you owe me. Alex, I covered for you growing up. Made you look good. Now you're going to act too important to celebrate my happiness? I didn't say that. Then you're paying. The Capitol Grill, private room. I'll send details. She hung up. I called back. She answered immediately. Changed your mind? I'll come to the party, I said, but I'm not paying for it. Silence. What? I'm not paying. If you want the Capitol Grill, you pay for it. Are you serious right now? After everything? I've asked again, and I leave entirely. Alex, you can't. I hung up. She called back. I didn't answer. She texted. I didn't respond. My dad called the next morning. I let it go to voicemail. He left a long message about family and obligations and how I was being selfish during Chloe's special time. I deleted it and went back to work. That's when I met Maya. The ER at Queen City Medical was busy for a Tuesday night. I was there because I'd gashed my hand open on a filing cabinet drawer. Stupid accident. Deep enough for stitches. The nurse who took me back had dark hair in a bun, sharp eyes, and the calm of someone who saw bad things regularly. Her name tag said Maya. Filing cabinet? She asked, examining the cut. Yeah, rough day at the office. Something like that. She prepped the suture kit. This will sting. It did. I didn't react. She glanced up. You military? How'd you know? Posture. And most people flinch when I say the word sting. You didn't blink. 9 years Army? She nodded. 3 years in this ER, you learn to read people. She stitched in clean, efficient movements. So, what does a military guy do that involves filing cabinets? Can't really talk about it. Classified? Something like that. She tied off the last suture. Well, try to keep the classified filing cabinets from attacking you. I almost smiled. I'll do my best. She handed me care instructions. Come back in 10 days for removal. Ask for me. I did. She took the stitches out and we talked. Nothing deep, just easy. Someone who didn't push for answers I couldn't give. I asked if she wanted coffee. She said yes. That was 4 months before Chloe's engagement party. We'd been dating 3 months by May, long distance technically. I was at Fort Liberty and traveled for work. She was in Charlotte pulling ER shifts. Late night calls, weekend visits when our schedules aligned. Maya didn't do drama or games. It was simple with her. One night, early May, I was on the phone venting about Chloe's latest demand. Let me get this straight, Maya said. Your sister wants you to pay $3,000 for her party? That was the original demand. I said no. What happened next? She lost it. Dad left a voicemail about family obligations. Mom texted me an essay about how I'm ruining Chloe's special time. Silence. Then, if you pay, what are you buying? Peace, or permission to be disrespected? I stopped pacing. What? You heard me. If you reward bad behavior, it doesn't stop. It multiplies. I didn't have an answer. Alex, she said softly. I work trauma. I know the difference between someone hurt once and someone who keeps walking back into the same fire. 2 weeks later, the engagement party invitation came. Chloe listed me as attending, but didn't include a +1. I texted her, I'm bringing Maya. She replied, no, family only. Brandon's team only. No random girlfriends. Maya read the text and handed my phone back. Insulting the person you treat like an ATM is bold. I texted Chloe again, not a request. She's coming. Chloe called. I ignored it. She texted. I blocked her for 24 hours. Maya said, she's going to melt down when you show up with me. Yeah, good. Boundaries bother people who don't have any. The week before the party, a target package I'd built months earlier got executed. Clean. No civilian casualties. I got called into Chief Warrant Officer 3 Miller's office. Staff Sergeant Foster, she said. Not Alex, not Foster. Full rank meant something. Yes, ma'am. The task force commander sends his compliments. That package saved lives. Thank you, ma'am. She studied me. You look like hammered hell. When did you last sleep? Few hours yesterday. Real sleep. I had to think. Week ago, maybe 4 hours. You have 89 days of unused leave. Use them. Got a family thing. This weekend. I'll rest after. Does your family know what you do? No, ma'am. That must be hard. It's fine. It's not fine, she said. But I can still order you to take leave. 2 weeks starting Monday. The party was Saturday night. You're one of the best targeters in this task force, but Reeves, she used my proper name. You need to understand something. You don't owe access to people who don't respect you, family or otherwise. This job is hard enough. You don't need people tearing you down when you're not working. Your leave stands. 2 weeks. Rest. Figure out your boundaries. Come back ready to work. That's an order. I wore my dress uniform to the party. Chloe had insisted Brandon thought it was cool. Maya wore a simple black dress, calm as ever. The hostess at the Capitol Grill looked at the list. The Foster party. You're down for one. Make it 2, I said. She hesitated. I didn't. Before we went in, I asked, if there's a card on file under my name, remove it. The organizer started to protest. Remove it, I said, or I talk to the manager. She removed it. The private room was white and gold, about 40 people. Chloe saw Maya and me walk in and went stiff. Brendan put a hand on her arm before she could speak. There was one empty chair shoved in the far corner. I ignored it, pulled 2 chairs to the middle of the room, and sat. Maya sat beside me. My mom, Susan, stared. Chloe looked like she was swallowing battery acid. Dinner started. Wine flowed. Conversation buzzed around us. Around 7:30, Chloe and Brandon were whispering. She gestured toward me repeatedly. He kept shaking his head. Eventually, he walked over and sat beside me. Can we talk outside? He asked quietly. In the hallway, he looked nothing like the loud guy from the party. Chloe's been making jokes about you since we started dating, he said. I went along with it. Thought it was harmless. I waited. But last week, she told me her plan for tonight. This big toast where she calls me a warrior and basically implies you push paper, humiliate you in front of everyone. Why tell me? Because I realized you've never defended yourself. And that means either you're a doormat, or someone who doesn't need to prove anything to people who wouldn't understand anyway. He met my eyes. You're not a doormat. What did she say when you told her to stop? She said I was being dramatic. That you don't mind. He paused. Do you mind? Yeah, Brendan, I mind. Then I'm shutting it down. And if she goes ahead anyway, we're leaving. I'm not marrying someone who treats people like that. We went back inside. Around 8:30, Chloe stood with her wine glass. The room quieted. Thank you all for coming, she said brightly. This year has been incredible. I met my soulmate, my hero, Brandon. You're everything I ever wanted. Brandon's jaw clenched. And I want to thank my family, she continued, especially my big brother Alex, who managed to take time away from his very important office work to be here. Polite laughter. I know it must be hard for Alex, she went on, seeing Brandon in uniform and realizing what real military service looks like. But I appreciate him showing up, even if he spends his days filing reports while Brandon. Chloe! Brandon said sharply, standing. Stop. What? She blinked. You're disrespecting your brother in public. In his uniform. It's just a joke. He doesn't care. Right, Alex? Everyone turned toward me. I stood, looked at her, then at my parents. "Stop," I said quietly. Silence. "We're leaving." I turned toward the door. Chloe's voice rose. "Alex, you can't just—" My mom, Susan, stood. "Alex, don't be dramatic. She's just teasing." I kept walking. That's when Chloe threw the wine. The glass flew past Brandon. He'd stepped between us, tried to block her, but Chloe lunged sideways. The wine caught me across the chest. Cold. Shocking. Deep red spreading across my army blues. The restaurant went completely silent. Brandon spun on Chloe. "Are you out of your mind?" He was leaving. On my special night. After everything you've what? Humiliated him? Mocked him? Stolen his money? Chloe's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Brandon looked at me. His eyes dropped to my chest. The wine was soaking through, dripping onto the floor. And as I shifted, my jacket tugged open. Something heavy slid in the inner pocket, then dropped. A metal clink on tile. The coin rolled once and stopped near Brandon's shoe. Brandon's face changed. All the color drained out in about 2 seconds. "Oh no," he whispered. "Oh no, no, no." "What?" Chloe snapped. "What are you?" Brandon wasn't looking at her. He was staring at the coin by his boot like it was a live round. "Is that?" He started, stopped, started again. "Where did you get that?" I didn't confirm. Didn't deny. Just stood there, dripping wine. Brandon's hands started shaking. "How long?" "Can't talk about it," I said quietly. "Jesus Christ." He sat down hard. His whole team was staring now. A few of them had gone quiet. Recognition dawning. One of Brandon's buddies, the big guy from the party, leaned forward. "Wait, is that—" "Shut up," Brandon said, not angry. Quiet, almost pleading. "Just shut up, Hendricks." He looked up at me, then at Chloe, then back at me. "I've seen that coin," Brandon said, barely moving his mouth. His eyes flicked to the room like he was checking who could hear. "Where did you get it?" I didn't answer. "Holy hell," one of his team whispered. Brandon stood up, his whole body rigid. Then he did something that made my mom gasp. Brandon went still, spine straight, voice dropping into something formal. "Staff Sergeant Foster, I owe you an apology." "Not here," I said. Brandon dropped his hand, looked at Chloe. "We're done." "What? The engagement's off?" "We're done." Chloe's face went white. "You can't. It's just Alex. He's nobody. He's always been, he's not nobody." Brandon's voice was hard now. "You are. You made me disrespect a man who's done more in one shift than I'll do in my entire career. You made me mock someone who saves lives I'll never know about. You humiliated him, stole his money, and just assaulted him in public." "I didn't assault, you threw wine on a service member in uniform. That's assault. And I'm not marrying someone who treats people like that." He turned to his team. "We're leaving." They stood. Every one of them filed out without a word. Professional. Respectful. The way soldiers move when someone with authority gives an order. Brandon paused at the door, looked back at me. "Thank you for your service. Real service." Then he was gone. The room exploded. Chloe sobbing. My mom, Susan, shouting. My dad, David, trying to calm everyone down. Chloe's friends pulling out their phones. My mom grabbed my arm. "Alex, wait. You can't just leave. We need to fix this. No, we don't. Chloe's devastated. Her engagement is ruined. She ruined it herself. But you, my mom's voice rose. You could talk to Brandon. Explain you didn't mean to embarrass him. That your job isn't actually important. I pulled my arm free. My job isn't important? She faltered. I didn't mean, yeah, Mom. You did. You've meant it every time Chloe mocked me and you laughed. Every time Dad called me a paper pusher and you nodded along. You meant it every single time. My dad stepped forward. Son, you're upset. Let's all calm down, and I am calm. I'm also done. I walked out. Maya followed. The parking lot was quiet. Cool, May night. We got to the car. A 10-year-old Honda Civic. Paid off. Reliable. I checked my phone. Chloe, 8 missed calls. Mom, 4 missed calls. Dad, 3 missed calls. I blocked all 3 numbers. Maya leaned against the car. Well, that was something. Yeah, your sister really threw wine at you. She did. And your parents told you to clean up. They did. She looked at me. You okay? I thought about it. Yeah. I think I am. That Brandon guy seemed decent once he figured out who you actually are. He was your family, though. She shook her head. There's something else. I started the car. Yeah, there is. We drove back to Charlotte. I stripped off the uniform at my apartment. The wine had set into the fabric. Probably ruined. Showered until the water went cold. Maya ordered takeout. We ate in silence. You know what's coming next, right? She said finally. What? The apology that's not an apology. The justification with an apology filter. I almost laughed. How do you know? Because I've seen families like yours in the ER. They show up after treating someone like garbage. Act shocked when there's consequences, then explain why it wasn't really their fault. Every single time. She was right. The next morning, I slept until noon. First real rest I'd had in days. The messages started immediately. Day 1. Chloe called from different numbers. I didn't answer. She left voicemails. All variations of the same theme. I'd ruined her life. Brendan's team was spreading rumors. His friends were calling her cruel. Her own friends were distancing themselves. It was all my fault. I deleted them without listening all the way through. Day 2. My dad, David, showed up at my apartment at 7 a.m. I'd just gotten out of the shower. We need to talk, he said when I opened the door. No, we don't. Chloe's a mess. The wedding's off. Her friends are turning on her. Brandon's team is spreading stories. You could fix this. How? Tell people it was a misunderstanding. That your job isn't actually whatever Brandon thought it was. I stared at him. You want me to lie about my service so Chloe looks better? I want you to help your family. I've been helping my family for 9 years. Covered your rent, paid Mom's dental bills, sent Chloe money for every emergency that turned into a shopping trip. I'm done. Alex, you gave Chloe $2,500 of the money I sent you for car repairs. Money I sent because you asked for help. You turned around and gave it to her for a birthday party. His face went red. I don't care what she needed. You asked me for help, then gave my money to someone else. That's theft. And when she threw wine on me last night, you laughed. Mom laughed. Neither of you defended me. Not once. Not ever. We didn't know your job was important. You never asked. You just assumed I was lying or exaggerating. And you let Chloe mock me for 3 years because it made her feel good. He didn't have an answer. Leave, I said. Your mother? Leave. I closed the door. Day 3. CW3 Miller told me to stop by her office. I'd been on leave for 2 days. That alone put a knot in my stomach. Foster, sit. I sat. You're on leave and I'm still pulling you in, she said. That should tell you how this looks from my chair. She studied me for a beat. When you told me you had a family thing this weekend, you looked like you were walking into a fight. So, I'm asking once, are you okay? It was personal, ma'am, I said. Won't affect my work. Personal can still grind you down, she said. Did anyone put hands on you? I hesitated. My sister threw a drink at me in public while I was in uniform. CW3 Miller's expression tightened. Understood. Your leave stands. 2 weeks. Rest. Figure out your boundaries. Come back ready to work. That's an order. That night, Maya called. How you holding up? Okay. Chief gave me 2 weeks mandatory leave. Good. You need it. Listen, I have news. Yeah? Duke Medical offered me a position. Trauma surgery track. Better pay, better hours, actual career progression. My chest tightened. That's amazing. You taking it? I am. And I'm moving closer to you. Found a place in Gastonia, halfway between Duke Medical and me. Yeah. Yeah, help me move in next week. Absolutely. We spent the following week moving her stuff. She had one box labeled boundaries in marker. What's in it? I asked. Bubble wrap for defending personal space. Her deadpan delivery almost made me laugh. On day 5 of my leave, I was helping her assemble a bookshelf when my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered, yeah, Alex Foster. Male voice, older, unfamiliar. Who's asking? Uncle Mark Foster, your dad's brother. I hadn't talked to Uncle Mark in probably 6 years. He lived in Ohio, showed up for major holidays, kept to himself. What's up, Uncle Mark? Wanted to give you a heads up. Your parents are telling people you had some kind of breakdown. That you attacked Chloe at her engagement party. That you're unstable and they're worried about you. My hand tightened on the phone. They're saying what? David called me 2 days ago. Said you'd flipped out at the party, embarrassed Chloe on purpose, and that Brendan left because you threatened him. Said they're considering getting you a wellness check. Maya looked up from the shelf she was working on, mouthed, "What's wrong?" I put the phone on speaker. Uncle Mark, none of that's true. I figured. David's been covering for Chloe since she was 16. Anything goes wrong, it's someone else's fault. Usually yours. He paused. What actually happened? I told him. The whole thing, the money, the mockery, the wine. Brendan recognizing my unit affiliation and calling off the engagement. Silence on the other end. Then. That little psycho threw wine on you? Yeah. And Susan and David laughed? Yeah. Jesus. Uncle Mark exhaled hard. Listen, I can't stop them from spreading stories. But I can make some calls. Set the record straight with family. If they try the wellness check nonsense, I'll shut it down. You don't deserve this. Thanks, Uncle Mark. You need anything, you call me. I mean it. You're a good kid, Alex. Always have been. Don't let them make you think otherwise. He hung up. Maya looked at me. They're trying to control the narrative. Yeah. You going to let them? I thought about it. No. She smiled. Good. Want me to help you draft a message? We spent the next hour writing an email. Clean, professional, no emotion, just facts and boundaries. To David Foster, Susan Foster, Chloe Foster. From Alex Foster. Subject: boundaries going forward. I'm writing to establish clear expectations. I will not be attending family events. I will not be providing financial support. I will not be available for phone calls, texts, or in-person visits. If you spread false information about me, I will correct the record publicly with documentation. If you continue to contact me after this message, I will pursue legal options, including restraining orders. This is not negotiable. This is not temporary. These are permanent boundaries based on years of disrespect and recent assault. Do not contact me again. Alex. I read it 3 times. Maya read it twice. Send it, she said. I sent it. My mom responded within an hour. A long email, 3 paragraphs explaining how I'd misunderstood, how Chloe was just joking, how family forgives, how I was being cruel and vindictive and breaking my mother's heart. Maya read it over my shoulder. That's not an apology, she said. That's a justification with an apology filter. I deleted it without responding. The next few months were quiet. I went back to work, threw myself into it, built packages, tracked targets, did the job. Maya and I fell into a rhythm. She worked trauma shifts at Duke Medical. I worked classified shifts at Fort Liberty. We'd meet in the middle, cook dinner, talk about nothing. It was the most normal my life had ever felt. In July, I got selected for Sergeant First Class. Pinning ceremony would be later that year. CW3 Miller also recommended me for a position at CENTCOM headquarters in Jacksonville, Special Operations Command. The kind of posting that could make a career. I accepted. Maya got offered a trauma fellowship at Jacksonville Medical the same week. She accepted, too. Looks like we're moving to Georgia, she said. Yeah, looks like it. We packed up her place in Gastonia, drove south in August, found an apartment near Jacksonville Naval Air Station, started building a life. I didn't hear from my family. No calls, no emails, nothing. Uncle Mark called once to check in. They're still telling people you're unstable. David tried to get me to agree you need help. I told him if anyone needs help, it's Chloe for assaulting a service member. Thanks, Uncle Mark. You good down there? Yeah, really good. And I was. Work was intense but satisfying. Maya was thriving in her fellowship. We had friends, a routine, peace. Then in November, 6 months after the engagement party, Chloe showed up at our apartment. I was getting home from a 14-hour shift when I saw her sitting on the stairs outside our building. Chloe, thinner than I remembered, dark circles under her eyes. She stood up when she saw me. Alex, please. I need to talk to you. I stopped. How did you get this address? Mom gave it to me. Please, just 5 minutes. No, Alex, my life is falling apart. Brandon won't talk to me. I can't date anyone military. I lost my job. You need to leave. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I threw wine on you. Mocked you. I didn't understand. You understood perfectly. You didn't care. I was jealous. Please. I'm your sister. Family forgives. Family respects each other. You never did. The door behind me opened. Maya stepped out, came down the stairs, stood next to me. Who's this? Chloe asked, voice sharp. Maya, my girlfriend. Chloe looked her up and down. You brought a stranger to, she's not a stranger. You are. Maya didn't say anything. Just stood there. Solid. Present. Chloe's face twisted. Fine. Be like that. But you're going to regret this. Alex, family doesn't forget. We'll be here when you come crawling back. Don't hold your breath. She left, got in a beat-up sedan, and drove off. Maya watched her go. She drove 6 hours to ambush you on the stairs. Apparently, that's not an apology. That's manipulation. I know. We went inside. I called Uncle Mark and told him what happened. He sighed. I'll call David. Let him know that was out of line. But Alex, they're not going to stop. They think if they push hard enough, you'll break. I won't. I know you won't. Just wanted you to know what you're dealing with. 2 weeks later, my mom sent a letter. Actual paper mail. 6 pages. Handwritten. How I'd changed. How the military made me cold. How Chloe was struggling because of what I'd allowed to happen. How I owed them loyalty. How I needed to apologize to my sister and make it right. The last line, until then, you're choosing to be alone. I hope it's worth it. I showed it to Maya. They don't miss you, she said. They miss access. I shredded the letter. But the visits didn't stop. December brought my dad. He showed up at the gate at Jacksonville Naval Air Station. Told the gate guard he was there to see his son. The guard called me. I told him I didn't know anyone by that name. My dad was escorted off base. He called from the parking lot. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. Alex, I drove 8 hours. You can't even talk to me for 5 minutes? This is ridiculous. You're acting like a child. Call me back. I blocked the number. January brought an email from Chloe. Subject, please read this. 12 paragraphs about counseling, about jealousy issues, about feeling inadequate, about how sorry she was, how she wanted to rebuild. The last line, I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I'm asking anyway because that's what family does. Maya read it over my shoulder. It's still all about her feelings. Nothing about what she actually did to you. I didn't respond. February marked 9 months since the engagement party. I was on track for Sergeant First Class. CW3 Miller told me I was ahead of the curve for my year group. Maya was wrapping up her fellowship, had offers from 3 hospitals. We were building something good, something that didn't include people who treated me like a backup plan. Then in March, I got a call from Uncle Mark. Alex, you sitting down? What happened? David had a heart attack. He's at Methodist Hospital in critical condition. Susan called me, asked me to tell you. She wants you to come home. My chest tightened. How bad? Bad. They're not sure he's going to make it. I sat down. Maya appeared in the doorway, questioning look on her face. I'll call you back, Uncle Mark. I hung up. Told Maya what happened. You going to go? She asked. I don't know. It's your dad. He's not my dad. He's the guy who gave my money to Chloe and laughed when she threw wine on me. Maya sat next to me. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But I'll tell you this, if you go and he recovers, they're going to use it as proof you still care. That you'll come back if they push the right buttons. If you don't go and he dies, you'll wonder if you should have. What would you do? She thought about it. I'd go. Not for them, for me. So I'd know I gave them one last chance, and they either took it or they didn't. But I'd go with boundaries. Clear ones. And I'd leave the second they crossed them. I called Uncle Mark back. I'll come up, but I'm not staying. And if they try anything, I'm gone. Fair enough. I'll meet you at the hospital. The flight to Ohio took 3 hours. Maya came with me. We rented a car and drove to the hospital in silence. Uncle Mark met us in the lobby, looking older than I remembered. He's in ICU, he said. Stabilized, but touch and go. Susan's up there. So is Chloe. Great. He glanced at Maya. You must be the girlfriend. Maya. Trauma nurse. Good. We might need you. In the elevator, he added, fair warning. Your parents are telling everyone you abandoned the family. They're playing the victim hard. Of course they are. The ICU waiting room was small. My mom, Susan, sat red-eyed, clutching tissues. Chloe beside her. They both looked up when we walked in. My mom's face flickered through shock, relief, anger, and landed on wounded. Alex, you came. How is he? Critical. They induced a coma. We won't know about brain damage for 48 hours. Her voice cracked. He might not wake up. I nodded but didn't move closer. Chloe stood. Can we talk privately? No. Alex, please. Dad's dying. Can you put aside whatever? Whatever? What? The assault? The mockery? The money you stole? Her face drained. I apologized. No. You sent me an email about your feelings. That's not an apology. My mom rose. Alex, this is not the time. Then when is the time to talk about how you let her steal from me? How you laughed when she threw wine on me? How you told people I'd had a breakdown? Uncle Mark told me everything. My mom's mouth opened, but nothing came out. A doctor appeared. Reeves' family. His condition has stabilized. Cautiously optimistic. No visitors tonight. My mom sagged with relief. Chloe cried. The doctor left. I turned toward the door. My mom grabbed my arm. Where are you going? Hotel. You should stay at the house. We have room. I'd rather sleep in my car. Alex, please. Your father is dying. He's stable. And this isn't an emergency anymore. It's you trying to use a crisis to force contact. That's not fair. I pulled my arm free. Here's what's going to happen. I'll come back tomorrow. I'll see Dad. If he wants to talk, I'll listen. But I'm not staying with you. And if you try to manipulate me again, I'm gone permanently. Chloe stepped forward. You're being cruel. Dad could die and you're, say one more word, and I walk out right now. She shut up. I left. Maya followed. Uncle Mark caught up with us in the parking lot. That went about as expected, he said. Thanks for the warning. My treat. Hotel room has 2 beds. You and Maya can crash there. We accepted. The next morning, my dad was awake. Groggy, weak, but awake. The nurse let me in alone. He looked at me. Alex. Hey, Dad. You came. Yeah. A long silence. He looked pale. Smaller somehow. I'm sorry, he whispered. I should have stopped her. Defended you. I didn't. I was wrong. Yeah, you were. Can you forgive me? I thought about it. I don't know. You had 9 years to defend me. 9 years to tell Chloe to stop. 9 years to treat me like more than a checkbook. You chose her every time. He nodded, eyes wet. I know. So, here's the deal. If you recover, things are different. I'm not your backup plan. I'm not your ATM. If you want a relationship, you earn it. You set boundaries with Chloe. You treat me with respect. If you can't do that, we're done. Okay, he whispered. I mean it. I understand. I left. My mom tried to stop me. I kept walking. Chloe waited outside. What did he say? She demanded. That's between me and him. I need to know if, Chloe, you assaulted me, stole my money, mocked me for years, and you've never once actually apologized. You've talked about feelings, about jealousy, about wanting forgiveness, but you've never said, I was wrong. Until you do, there's nothing to discuss. I did apologize. No, you made excuses. What do you want from me? Nothing. Leave me alone. We're family. Family doesn't treat each other like you treated me. We're just related. I walked away. She didn't follow. Maya was waiting in the rental car. How'd it go? Dad apologized. Sort of. Chloe tried to pry. I shut it down. You okay? Yeah, I'm good. We drove back to Georgia that afternoon. My dad recovered slowly. He called once, asked how I was. 10-minute small talk, no mention of Chloe, no guilt trips, just conversation, the first real one we'd had in years. My mom sent a letter, 1 page this time. I know we failed you. I don't know how to fix it, but I'm proud of you. I'm proud of your service. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. I kept the letter, didn't respond. Chloe never contacted me again. Uncle Mark called every few weeks with updates on Dad and the rest of the family. He became the bridge I didn't know I needed. In June, a year after the engagement party, Maya and I were having dinner when she said, "So, I've been looking at houses." Yeah, there's a place near Jacksonville Naval Air Station. 3 bedrooms, room for an office. I'm thinking my chest warmed. Yeah. Yeah, if you want. I thought about the past year. The peace. The boundaries. Maya, steady, sharp, loyal. I think we should look at houses, she smiled. Showings on Saturday. We bought the house in July. Moved in August. Built something that wasn't held together by obligation or guilt. For the first time in my life, I felt at home. 6 months later, Brendan emailed me. Short, professional. Staff Sergeant Foster, wanted to let you know I made Sergeant First Class and moved into a training role at Fort Moore. I tell your story to every new Ranger class. Not the classified parts, just the part about respect. About how real professionals don't brag, they just do the work. Thank you for the example. Stay safe. SFC Brandon. I read it twice, then went to find Maya in the backyard planting tomatoes. Brendan emailed, I said. Yeah, what did he say? I told her. She brushed dirt from her hands. Sounds like he learned something. Yeah. You going to respond? I thought about it. No. He said what he needed to say. She nodded and went back to planting. I watched her, steady, building something real. Some people will never see you for who you are. And that's okay. You don't need them to. You just need to finally see yourself. And I did. How do you handle family members who refuse to respect your boundaries?